February 25th. As a reminder, this is a public meeting and is being recorded. Please ensure your phone line is muted. And first, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner O'Grady.
Come on. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Steer clear of me today, Commissioner.
As we continue to celebrate Black History Month, we are honored to welcome Dr. Laura S.B. Bell, a dedicated physician and the visionary founder of Made for Medicine, a groundbreaking program in Central Ohio committed to increasing Black representation in the medical field. Understanding that systemic barriers that have historically limited access to medical careers for Black youth, Dr. S.B. Bell empowers and created a program that educates and inspires. Through mentorship, hands-on experiences, and strategic partnerships, Made for Medicine equips the next generation of Black physicians and healthcare professionals with the tools, confidence, and opportunities they need to succeed and impact their communities. Please join me in welcoming Dr. S.B. Bell to share more with us.
And Commissioners, I believe she is not yet here, but on her way. So we
Oh.
can come right back
Okay.
to her when she arrives.
We can do that.
Apologies.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. All right, well, and we'll wait for her to come, and then we'll do, if I can get approval of the minutes for the January 14th, January 21st, 2025 general sessions.
Move approval of the minutes?
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Thank you. The minutes have been approved.
First up, we have the engineer's office.
We do have a public hearing, Madam President.
We have a public hearing for Resolution 0136-25. Can the clerk please read the public hearing?
Resolution regarding plans approved for the 2025 resurfacing program for various Franklin County roads, Franklin County, Ohio.
I would like to open up the public hearing for this resolution. Is there anyone here in the audience or online who would like to speak to this public hearing? Seeing and hearing none, I would like to close the public hearing and have the clerk read the resolution into the record.
Resolution number 13625. Plans approved for the 2025 resurfacing program for various Franklin County roads, Franklin County, Ohio.
Good morning, Commissioners. Adam Fowler, Franklin County Engineer. Commissioners, this resolution seeks plan approval for the 2025 resurfacing program for various Franklin County roads. Plan specifications and estimates have been prepared and approved by the county engineer. The next step is to schedule a bid opening. The project is scheduled to begin spring of 2025. Any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of resolution 13625.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes,
Resolution number 13625 has been adopted.
thank you. We have a public hearing for Resolution 137-25. Can the clerk please read the public hearing?
Resolution regarding the final hearing for establishing, altering, and widening of the Cosgray Road and Fast Ditch Drainage Improvements Project, Washington Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
I would like to open the public hearing for this resolution. Is there anyone here in the audience or online who would like to speak to the public hearing? Seeing and hearing none, I would like to close the public hearing and have the clerk read the resolution into the record.
Resolution number 13725. Final hearing for establishing, altering, and widening of Cosgray Road and Fast Ditch Drainage Improvement Projects, Washington Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
The Cosgray Road and Foul Ditch Drainage Improvement Project seeks to improve drainage along Cosgray Road, south of Rings Road, and along Foul Ditch, north of Hayden Run Road. It is located in northwest Franklin County in Washington Township in the city of Dublin and is funded by OPWC dollars. Approval of these right-of-way plans will allow our office to move forward with the acquisition process. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of resolution 13725.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes,
Resolution number 13725 has been adopted. Resolution number 13825. Report second of the Franklin County Engineer establishing sums of compensation for a portion of the owners of property abutting the Harrisburg-Georgesville Road 2.83 over Big Darby Creek, Pleasant Township, Franklin County, Ohio, in the amount of $379.
This resolution seeks compensation for one property owner of Bun Harrisburg, Georgesville Road, 2.83 over Big Darby Creek Improvement Project. Funded with CAO County Local Bridge Program dollars, this project is located in southwest Franklin County in Pleasant Township and will rehabilitate the existing bridge. We negotiated with the property owner and compensation is based on appraised fair market value. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
There are no comments or questions. I'll move approval of Resolution 13825.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 13825 has been adopted. Resolution number 13925, report forth of the Franklin County Engineer establishing sums of compensation for a portion of the owners of property abutting Walnut Street, County Road number 19 at New Albany Condit Road, State Route 605, Plain Township, Franklin County, Ohio, in the amount of $94,979.
This resolution seeks compensation for one property owner abutting the Walnut Street, New Albany Conduit Road, State Route 605 Improvement Project. Located in northeast Franklin County, this is a collaborative project between Franklin County, New Albany, Plain Township, ODOT, and will improve the offset stop control intersection with a modern roundabout. We recommend that appropriation proceedings be initiated for the acquisition of the parcel in order to keep the project on schedule for construction. We will continue to work closely with the prosecutor's office and negotiate with the property owners. Will continue. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
There are no comments or questions. I'll move approval of Resolution 13925.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 13925 has been adopted. Resolution number 14025, approval of the Villages at Galloway Phase 4 Subdivision Plat, Prairie Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
Our last resolution seeks approval of the Village of Galloway Phase 4 subdivision plat located in Prairie Township on Galloway Road between O'Hara Road and Hall Road. Approval of this resolution is the last legislative step allowing the developer to begin selling lots and building homes. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
There are no comments or questions. I'll move approval of Resolution 14025.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 14025 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. And before we go to the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, since we have our guest, Dr. Laura S.B. Bell here, I will ask her to come to the podium to tell us more about her groundbreaking program, Made for Medicine.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so very much for having us today. I am Dr. Laura S.B. Bell. I am a board-certified emergency physician here in Ohio at Ohio Health here in Columbus, Ohio. And today I have with me Dr. Stroud and Dr. Ray Thompson, who are two aspiring physicians that you will see in the next 10 years or so in your local hospitals taking care of patients. And so I am the founder and the president of the Made for Medicine program, which is a pipeline initiative program established in 2021 here in Columbus, and we are an affiliate of the Columbus Medical Association. And thank you to Tracy Davison for being here today, who is our CEO. The Made for Medicine program was established out of a calling. And this program is in response to the health disparities that exist within our communities and across the country. And the fact that there are not as culturally competent care that is being provided to our community. Out of all of the physicians in the United States, only 5% are Black. And out of those 5%, only 2% are Black women. And so I call myself a unicorn sometimes, because there's not very many of us that exist. So I had a dream a long time ago, and I really believe that it's important that we not only use our talents for good, but we use our talents to change the next generation. And so Made for Medicine was created out of that dream. Made for Medicine is a pipeline initiative in which our students start in the 6th and the 7th grade. So Black youth in Ohio or in Central Ohio, Columbus, apply to my program. It's an application process, letters of recommendation. We're taking transcripts. We're asking them hard questions in the interview or in the questions. And then we select a select few of students to serve in our core programming. Our program is different from other programs because we support them until they graduate from high school. And we're developing some new program where we're even going to support them beyond high school. And so what we do is we teach them everything we know. We believe that we claim being a doctor now because we do understand that medicine is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So our students, like I refer to them as doctor. I honestly don't know a lot of their first names because I just call them by doctor and their last name. And so we address them as that because we believe in claiming it on day one. We teach them about CPR. We teach them about emergency medicine, which is my personal favorite. We teach them that you're never too young to save a life. We teach them about pediatrics, about OBGYN. That's always fun. About general surgery, trauma surgery. They learn about procedures that medical residents are learning. I'm teaching these middle school students. After they graduate from phase one, we have a white coat ceremony, and all of you are invited to see these amazing students in their white coats. That is their first step into medicine. And then they enter phase two of our programming, which is field trips. We take them actually into hospitals where they're able to have the opportunity to apply what they learn in the classroom to clinical situations. So they get to see real trauma patients. They get to ultrasound real pregnant women. They have the opportunity to learn about orthopedics and robotic surgery. They go into operating rooms and they see how that process works. Phase three of our program, Dr. Ray Thompson is in phase three. We take them to the Cleveland Clinic so they're able to see how another health system operates. Phase three is our deeper dive where they're having the opportunity to look at things about racism in medicine. We talk about health equity and how that applies to the healthcare experience for people. And then phase four is once they graduate. That's when we support them when they're applying to medical school. So as you can see, it's a robust program. We cannot do it without Franklin County. We're so gracious and thankful for your support that you've given us. D'Amica has been amazing working with our program. Joy Bivens was one of our first advocates and supporters, and we're just grateful for the support that you have allotted for us. We have worked with many different entities in Columbus, all of the major healthcare systems, various clinics and those types of things to be able to provide the programming for our students. But the magic is in our faculty. We have 11 Black faculty attending physicians of all various specialties here in Columbus that are faculty for this program. Our subliminal message to these kids is that they can see us do it, so they know they can do it too. I went to Berwick Elementary, right over on the east side of Columbus, where a lot of these students have come from, so they know that we come from their same communities. And so that's the magic of our program that we share with our students. If you would just allow me to give them just 2 minutes to share their experience. Dr. Ray Thompson.
Hi, well, I'm in phase three. My favorite session so far has been when we got to dissect the heart, because we were actually in a medical facility while doing it, and we got to meet different doctors who are actually in that field, as well as people who are in the field who are like aspiring to be them, so attending physicians and things like that. And it just really like inspired me and like showed me that I can get there when I am ready, and like that it's not impossible, because I know right now I'm in high school, I'm a sophomore, and it feels so far away and it feels so challenging. But this program has definitely made me see that there's people who look like me in this field and that I can do it, and that I have the ability and the people behind me who support me and who will give me help to get to where I want to be.
Love that.
Hello, my name is Dr. Stroud, and I've been here since the inaugural cohort of 2021. And my favorite session was the neurology session because I was able to discover my passion to become a physician in the future thanks to Dr. S.B. Bell. And unique things that I learned was CPR, being able to save a life, and I was also able to do an ultrasound on a pregnant woman and was somehow able to find a clear, picture of the baby's head, which they still have that photo to this day. And the way that this impacted my beliefs of that I can become a doctor is that there are so many Black physicians like Dr. S.B. Bell who want to make a world better in the future, just not for one person, but for the entire generation, which can inspire anyone to become the person that you want to be.
Absolutely.
So as you can see, our future is bright. We have over 100 students that have come through our core programming since 2021, and we've reached hundreds of students in Columbus through our outreach. We go into schools and we take our program on the road, if you will, so that students that are not necessarily in our program can still experience it. So thank you for having us today. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer those.
Yeah, I'll open it up to my colleagues.
Thank you, Madam President. One, I want to say to Dr. Stroud, you had any relatives that work for the county? Yeah, 'cause okay, just curious. The second one is, thank you, Dr. S.B. Bell, for your leadership here in seeding the next generation of medical practitioners and clinicians for all of us and all of our health and safety. My business partner, as you know, is a ER physician. I know you guys know each other well. And one of the things, he's also one of my best friends, but one of the things that you didn't mention in all of the vast array of training and support that you provide, and I know it's there, so I'm just teeing you up for what it is, and I maybe say this to the young people who are aspiring to be doctors, is the mental health management of physicians. One of the things that I see all too often are the stress and trauma that you, as an ER physician, have to navigate. And I'm probably a little more sensitive to the entire mental health conversation over the last few years. I've gotten much more sensitive to it. But how much in your training and in your sort of prep of these young people are you even seeding that element of management and just getting them ready, even for the rigor of the study of mental health before you get to the real emergency medicine type things or even just general practices? But how much of that are you sort of seeing them with today? I'll say I know for myself, to the young people, I started late in life being aware and conscientious of managing my own mental health, and I would encourage people to start at a much younger age. But Dr. S.B. Bell, would you mind, because I'm sure you actually
We do.
this is in the curriculum.
So yes, so you bring up an amazing point of mental health as a stigma, especially among populations of color, to have a diagnosis of a mental health challenge. And so what we teach our students is that it does exist and that it's important to pay attention to those things. In phase 3 specifically, Dr. Ray Thompson is in phase 3, we start having those hard conversations. We talk about racism in medicine. I talk about what it's like to be a physician of color as an emergency physician, which is a predominantly male-dominated field, not only a physician of color, but a woman. And what implications that has in my training, what that has in my resiliency, and the importance of leaning on the things that keep you grounded, whether that's your family, your faith, your friends, what have you. We host sessions for the community with our programming. We talk about Black men in medicine. We talk about Black women in medicine. We talk about how mental health is a diagnosis just like diabetes and hypertension. People think it's something separate. It is still a chronic disease, no different than anything else you take medication for. And I think that is the key that most people don't understand. They think that you can pray it off or you can, work out and, run it off or jog it off. And it really is a medical diagnosis that needs intensive treatment and attention to. And it is not a weakness. We are partnering with NetCare. We're taking our phase 3 students to NetCare to talk about mental health, not even just caring for patients in crisis, but for our own mental health and the importance of that. So yes, we are focusing on.
So we, as Commissioner, we spend a lot of time here talking about and talking with partners like John Gregory at the African American Male Wellness Agency.
Yes.
We spend a lot of time talking about awareness and talking about raising awareness. So it's really great to have you here today talking about the next generation and training the next generation and bringing young people in to elevate folks through the profession. So it's fantastic. So now we're finally talking about both ends of the spectrum, both awareness and training folks in the profession. So it's great to have this conversation on both ends. When I was a young guy, starting, and I know it's hard for a lot of people to imagine me as a younger person, starting in the government and the political world, my dad told me that I needed to go meet some people in central Ohio, and those people were folks like Otto Beatty and Jerry Hammond and your father. And so I took the time to go spend some time, and I know our administrator had a great relationship with your dad as well. And so I took the time to go meet your dad, and we struck up a long-time friendship. And over the course of time, I got to know your dad very well. My condolences again on
Thank
his
you.
recent passing. But over the course of time, I got to know your mother as well, and my wife spent a number of years working for your dad. And so, through that time, he spent most of his time, and I know Administrator Wilson would agree with me on this, he spent most of his time bragging about his daughters. And,
No doubt.
And there's, what's that?
I said no doubt,
Yeah,
no doubt, absolutely.
All he did was talk about his daughters and brag about his daughters. And I think everybody here today in our audience would they would recognize the fact that there was good reason for that.
Thank
So
you.
we really appreciate not only you coming today, but sharing with all of us, the organization that you've created, the work that you've done, and for all those years, sharing your family, your parents.
Oh, thank you so much.
Such wonderful people, so.
Thank you so much. Well, one of the things that he taught me is that, how it's important to use your, all of the things that you've learned, all of the education that you have, all of the things you've been blessed with for a purpose greater than yourself. And this is why Made for Medicine was created. Studies have shown that, I'm sorry, people of color have a really hard time in the healthcare industry and when they're being cared for. And so, sorry, it's been a rough week already. It's only Tuesday.
Okay.
Oh, you're okay. Thank you. And so studies have shown that when you have more physicians of color, that people of color have decreased mortality. That's huge. When a Black physician cares for a Black patient, you have an automatic rapport when you walk into the room. You almost feel like the person sees you, they understand your walk of life, they understand your challenges. And so studies have also shown that people of color get their pain controlled better when you have a physician of color that are caring for them. They're advocated more. I know for me with my patients, if I see you in the emergency department 3 times in the same week, I'm gonna say, what is going on? How can I help you? What are your challenges? Are you having a hard time getting to your doctor's office? I'm gonna dig a little bit deeper to try to see how we can care for you, not just your health care, but all of those social determinants of health that play into your ability to care for yourself. And so this is why Made for Medicine was created. We're thankful for all of your support. Kenneth Wilson has known my dad forever, and Kevin as well. But I'm just thankful for your support. We look forward to your continued support so that we can continue to pour into these children. We're taking 18 of them on a Black college tour, Black medical student tour this summer. Pray for me and Fevin Keflam, who are escorting them on this journey, but thank you for your time.
Yeah, I would just add, you just touched on all that I was going to add about, one, thank you for the program, but how when we do have physicians that look like us, our outcomes are just dramatically
improved.
And especially as this state has a maternal mortality rate and an infant mortality rate, especially for Black babies, that it's 2.5 to 3 times that of white babies. We know that when you have a physician that is of color, the decreased mortality for infants and for their mothers is significant. And so thank you for contributing to making sure that we have more professionals in this space. Congratulations to the doctors that are in the program. But also when we think about mental health and psychiatrists. I mean, that is a
Absolutely.
profession that we just do not have enough people of color, and it's harder and harder to get more people to be interested in that. And so I love that your program focuses on mental health, and maybe some of the student doctors will have an interest in going into psychiatry.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to your point, you know, people of color are more likely to adhere to your recommendation. If I prescribe you blood pressure medication, you're more likely to take it from me than you will from someone else, just with the distrust that we have for the system, which is not unfounded. So thank you. My hope is that all of these student doctors we have in our program will return to Central Ohio, to Columbus, to practice medicine. So when you're having your pediatrician, hi, Ariane, when you have your surgeon or your OBGYN or your emergency physician, that hopefully they will come from Made for Medicine and work in the community. I work on the east side. That's where I grew up. That's where I'll forever be. Thank you for your time.
I know Administrator Wilson has some comments.
Oh,
Thank you, President Crawley, Commissioner O'Grady, Commissioner Boyce. I'm gonna be very brief. I know we got a short agenda. Of course, you know, I love this program and everything that it stands for. But I just wanted to bring up why representation and inclusion is so vitally important. You spoke a number of years ago when Columbus and Franklin County hosted the National Urban League Conference.
Yeah.
And you gave a story that I won't forget. You was doing your thing as the head of emergency medicine at Grant Medical Center, and it was a grandmother that you cared for. And you said that you could not get her to be ready to go. And eventually it was about 3 generations of her family was there because she could not believe that someone that looked like her was actually a physician. And those examples are just, I just never forgot that story you told. And of course your dad was in the front row, beaming with pride. And I'll be here all day if I talk about the influence that he had on my life as a man and as a professional and in so many ways. The things that he instilled in me, I mean, I wouldn't be the man I am today without your father. There's no doubt about that. I tell the whole world that. But that story was so great, and that's why it matters, young folks. Stick with it. Don't give up. Go by doctor. Have everybody at school call you doctor. And keep your drive and ambition focused on what you want to be, because you know you can be it because you can see it. And that's what makes Made for Medicine so great. You and the volunteers. I know Dr. Chris Brown also is a part of your program and is one of my fraternity brothers, members of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And we have a couple other doctors that also work closely with you all. And this work is so important. We're so blessed that you came back to Central Ohio to contribute the way you have civically to have a program like this. So you could have went anywhere else in the world, but you came back here. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of the kids now and the kids in the future. Thank you.
thank you, Administrator Wilson. Thank you so much.
Yeah, if we want to take pictures, can we
I
take
think
pictures
I
with
think
her?
that'd be fine.
and Michael Coleman, and, Rancier, and then, I don't know who that young guy is.
All right. Next up, we will have, we'll go back to the irregular agenda, and we have the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
Resolution number 14125, resolution approving a contract agreement with Dr. Leo Taylor for various professional development trainings in the amount of $127,250.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. D'Amica Withers, Chief Economic Equity and Inclusion Officer in the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. This resolution established a commitment by the Franklin County Board of Commissioners to provide inclusive language training, crucial conversations training, amongst others, to enhance communication and public service effectiveness. These trainings, designed by Dr. Leo Taylor, recognize that clear, respectful, and professional communication is essential for building trust with residents we serve, reducing misunderstandings, and ensuring that all the members of the community feel welcome in their interactions with the Board of Commissioner staff. These trainings will help to build trust and teamwork among coworkers and demonstrates that we are committed to fostering a culture of professionalism, respect, and strong communication skills led to higher employee morale, improved teamwork, and more productive work environment. This is commitment fostering a welcoming and service-oriented environment that benefits both the employees and the public. This resolution supports Racial Equity Council recommendations number 1, 4, and number 6 and 7. Dr. Leo Taylor is online for any questions or comments. Pending any questions or comments, I respectfully request your approval on this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 14125.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 14125 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have community partnerships.
Resolution number 14225, resolution authorizing a one-year COVID-19 recovery grant extension with Bridgeway Academy to provide educational services to youth in the amount of $250,000.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. Curtis Brown, Community Partnerships Administrator. This resolution authorizes the final year of a 3-year, $250,000 COVID-19 grant with Bridgeway Academy to provide specialized services for youth with autism and developmental disabilities, foster their potential, and ensure high-quality program experience. If there are no questions or comments, I respectfully ask for the approval of this resolution.
I do have a question. Is this in regards to providing like assessments for children, or is this just for instruction only?
I believe it's for both.
Oh.
The instruction is the music therapy portion and also the testing.
Perfect. Thank you.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 14225.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 14225 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Next up, we have economic development and planning.
Resolution number 14325, resolution authorizing a grant agreement with the Rise Together Innovation Institute in support of their pilot project for inclusive emergency financial assistance in the amount of $250,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rochelle Pride, Interim Director with Economic Development and Planning. The Rise Together Institute has a mission to harness the collective power of people and systems to disrupt structural racism and issues of poverty here in Franklin County. Through innovative solutions and collaborative efforts, the Rise Together Institute seeks to achieve equity for all with a goal to remove barriers and make opportunities more accessible for all residents of the growing Franklin County region by taking steps to diminish the 59% of Franklin County residents who will experience poverty in their lifetime, according to U.S. Census data. The Rise Together Innovation Institute is requesting your support in the launch of Bridging the Gap, a pilot project for inclusive emergency financial assistance that would improve the economic security of individuals excluded from existing government programs and seek to prove that these types of interventions can be less expensive than an individual succumbing to a more expensive crisis. Today, we have with us Danielle Sidnor, Rise CEO, and Lisa Woodward, co-founder and executive director of Motherful. Pending any questions, I will allow them to expound, and we would seek your approval of this resolution.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm going to introduce Lisa. You all might remember we launched a program in December called Ohio Mothers Trust. Lisa and her team were instrumental in that, and she's going to share some remarks about this next pilot.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Commissioners, for letting me speak. Motherful is a community where single moms find love and support and people who really get what they're going through. Sometimes it's hard for moms every day to stay afloat because life throws them different unexpected things. That's why I believe that Rise Together's Bridging the Gap program could truly be a lifeline to so many families. I'm going to tell you about one scenario. I'm going to call the mom Sandra. This is a real story, but a different name. So Sandra reached out a couple weeks ago. She was in a panic. She drove her daughter out of town for a sports tournament and her car broke down. Tripway towed it back to Columbus and the mechanic said the engine was shot and it's gonna cost about $5,000 to repair her car. And she just didn't have that money laying around. Sandra does work full-time, but she only earns $5,000 in income per month. And that's too much to qualify for assistance, public assistance. So when you factor in all of her expenses, the money just doesn't stretch that far. And because Columbus City Schools stopped busing stop busing to where her kid goes to school, she has to drive the kid. So she really needs her car. It's not a luxury. It's something that she really needs to get her to school. Without the car, everybody's routine crumbles and it doesn't work very well. So that's why the Bridging the Gap program is really important. Sandra called us. If we had the program in effect when she called, it would be really easy to get her help because she would have just called in and we would have put her through the application process, which is really easy so she can easily get the money to fix her car without taking on any debt and other solutions that would put her further behind. What I love about the program is it's simple to apply, and they also added on another piece that is super cool. If the expense is over $5,000, they're offering a loan with no interest that they can work to pay off the full debt with payments. And sometimes the quick support can be a difference between losing your job, between your kid making it to school or falling behind. Motherful wants to partner with RISE on this because we see the need. We live it every day with these moms, and we'd help screen the applications because we know these women and we know what they're up against. This isn't about money, it's about giving people a chance to breathe, to stop small problems from turning into bigger ones. That's why I'm asking you to consider the Bridging the Gap program to be the difference between someone staying on their feet or falling in the hole. That's hard to climb out of. I see these women, I walk with them through their struggles, and I know this program could change lives. So please consider Bridging the Gap program. Thank you.
Open it up to my colleagues.
Thank you, Madam President. I keep feeling like I'm about to sneeze. I'm so sorry if I do. Excuse me. Do my best not to. One, but I want to thank you for the creation of everything Motherful is doing. I was raised by a single mom. My father was murdered when I was 7, and my mom really struggled to raise 3 kids in the 70s and 80s, very difficult time, difficult environment. She had limited education herself, and so there are often times when we were at that threshold of complete disaster. And so remind of a couple things. One, sometimes how, and I know this happened for my mom, the only source that they can turn to often is payday lending. And the hole that can put you in can be devastating and can be even more traumatic than the original loss or whatever damage itself. And so giving those families an alternative is important. Second one is what you mentioned about the daughter, I think you said it was. the idea that it could break the cycle of access of education, of extracurricular programming, of getting home to make a meal at night, you name it, can be far more disruptive and hard to quantify the impact over a long amount of time, but very serious. And then the third thing I would just add, I know I see Shannon Isom here, is that's homelessness prevention. What we know about homelessness in general is it is far more cost-effective to prevent it than to address it after it's happened. And so these resources are designed to really help be the catalyst from disaster that pulls even harder on the system, or helping that family continue to make it. You said something that was really key to me, that the example you used, a person had an employment, full-time employment. To me, those are the best kind of examples where we can help folks, because they don't have a long-term need. It's circumstantial, it's situational, and that given that extra boost of the trench that they're in, they can come out and put their family in position of strength. And so I really like your design of the program. When you said breathe, there was a program years ago we learned about at NACO called Breathe out of LA that I really liked, and it's the Guaranteed Benefits program. You can just follow the track of statistics and see how sometimes just that extra piece of income can help uplift someone into a trajectory that puts their family in a self-sustaining kind of trajectory. And I think that's important. Lastly, let me just say that this is a pilot. And, what we really, DCA Bivens and I have been talking about this for years. This is a pilot, and we need to start thinking about this resource, particularly when it's mothers, single moms that don't need to draw on the system for the next year and a half, 2 years, whatever. They have a moment in time that prevents them from being in that draw pool. And so I hope that you will be collecting the statistics and data that go, and I'm sure, Ms. Sidnor, that you're focused on this part, but I hope you'll be collecting the data and the information that will allow us to further evaluate the potential of a much bigger program. This, I feel like, would be used up tomorrow if from people. But let's take a look at the data. Let's see. And mostly what I'm interested in is what we were able to prevent. And if that was a trajectory to sustainability for that family that undergirds their success. And we won't have this long-term data, but that child you talked about, the prevention of the disruption for that child, we got to find a way to measure that and harness that prevention too. So, and I know this firsthand how, I always think to myself, people ask me all the time, like, what are the things that helped you? And the rec centers and the football teams and all of that stuff was so critical, and people diminish those things. But I was fortunate, I could walk to where I needed to go, walk to the community center, walk to football practice, walk to basketball practice, whatever. And so today, we live in a much more sprawled kind of community that's not often the case. And so I'm really interested in the prevention of disruption and what we're able to save. So I'm going to be looking closely at the data. And I know DCA Bivens will be interested in the data too, because that's, we're sort of rooted in that in Director Pride too. I'm grateful for you because I know how you are about data. And so, these are things that I think will help us figure out, if it's, I know it fits into our poverty thinking and strategy, Ms. Sidnor. So I'm excited to see a program like this. So, thank you.
Commissioner Crawley, I did have one brief remark as well, and thank you, Director Pride, for this. And I wanted to thank you all, Commissioner Crawley, Commissioner O'Grady, and Commissioner Boyce, and DCA Bivens for helping to identify that this is a fiscal tool. that we can really use to uplift families. And I'm grateful that this is coming out of economic development because I think it is helpful for the community to recognize that we are trying to offer a solution that we do believe is sustainable. Just to build upon what Lisa talked about, and I think it's interesting that we're here right after we heard a program about Made for Medicine, because prevention in the medical industry is where the industry is going. The Affordable Care Act ushered in all types of resources to make sure you can get your preventative screenings on an annual basis because it's much easier if you detect breast cancer early than to wait because you haven't been able to access a doctor or those types of things. And we look at this as the same kind of opportunity where if we can help families prevent the more expensive crisis by assisting when all of us have experienced some sort of financial need. Many of us have safety nets within our family or our community network. And if you don't have that safety net program, we're encouraged that this Franklin County Board of Commissioners is utilizing resources to step in and offer that type of safety net to families. It is much less expensive to watch someone fall all the way off the economic ladder to the floor and have to help build them back up to a place of participating in our economy. The two examples that we would lift up are the Franklin County or the City of Columbus Gifts of Kindness program, which does currently offer assistance to individuals through organizations like Motherful. What we think is exciting about this pilot is the opportunity to build upon that with that 0% loan program, because then it offers something that is sustainable, a evergreen pool of dollars that people would pay back into, instead of us having a scenario where all the dollars that come out have to be replenished by these outside sources. Additionally, one of the other examples that I hope that we can work with long-term is an organization called Promise. They basically looked at how we pay for things like Peloton and said if wealthy people who want to exercise can finance their bikes at 0%, why can't we offer the same solution to individuals who are experiencing paying for government debt or need some sort of relief? They already have a very robust technology platform that we're interested in having them present to us to look at a long-term sustainable way. And I think that if you have venture capitalists in other parts of this country that are willing to invest in a tool like Promise, that means that there's a market solution to this initiative. This is not just something that I look at as a one-time opportunity, but something that we can go and market and attract other dollars. So if there are no further questions, I respectfully ask for your support for the Bridging the Gap program.
So I do. Thank you, Motherful, for all that you do. And thank you for sharing Sandra's story. As a single mom, I know what it's like to be one flat tire away from like having everything fall apart. That has been my reality. And so I can empathize with where Sandra found herself just a few weeks ago. So thank you. I do have a question about the, being able to get up to $10,000 and $5,000 of that being a loan, and as it's a no interest loan. But what happens if someone is not able to pay that back? How do we make sure that they don't get themselves into a cycle or into a situation where at one point in time they thought they could pay it back or they couldn't pay all of it back? What happens then, especially since you're looking for those funds to go into a pool of funds to be able to help others?
Yeah, the examples that we're looking at modeling this after, one is the Hebrew Free Loan Association in Cleveland. What we're doing in this initial phase before we fully launch, dollars out, we bring in an expert like them who currently have a 0% loan program that they're operating. They offer two different types of solutions for individuals. One for folks who are interested in having this report on their credit, because a number of people are credit challenged and they don't have any positive payment history. And so a tool like this could be a beneficial way to start building some credit history. For individuals that are not interested in having it report on their credit, then it doesn't have to. And so it doesn't become something that it also turns into a tool that could harm them by having missed payments reporting. I would be desiring to have a solution where a portion of it is forgivable. If someone is on the loan side of the program, you have the option of not necessarily doing collection activity. This would not be a tool that we want to turn into the same type of thing from a credit card or a loan, a traditional loan, but to have that sense of repayment option available so that way an individual does have the tool available to make sure the payments could report if they so desired.
And then for the individuals or the families who are seeking support, I know it's a one-time, but if they come to you one time and then they're able to satisfy, if they ended up on the loan portion, but found themselves in another emergency, unexpected, is it, oh, you only came one time, we can't help you again, or we can help you based on individual circumstances?
The initial design would be to have a one-time opportunity to tap into this resource. But again, because it's the pilot, I think that the goal is to really learn the types of opportunities that make the most sense based on the circumstances that we see. Another portion that I didn't discuss, we also have had some early conversations with Jewish Family Services here in Columbus because of the Columbus Financial Empowerment Center that they're also operating, to look at, be it at Urban League or JFS, being able to pull that type of coaching and support into the program, because what we saw from some of the moms in need through Mother's Full's 24 hours of asking for assistance is some of them also indicated they would like to have support in developing a financial plan out of the situation that they're in. And so we think it's important to be able to have that counseling aspect of it to walk alongside the folks that would be able to take advantage of this tool.
And the Urban League has the 720 credit score program that we have supported. I know, Commissioner Boyce, you had a follow-up question.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President, and I appreciate your question, too. You made me think of a couple of questions. One, and maybe it's more of a thought. One, I love the credit aspect for obvious reasons. I think that's really important. But I'd also encourage you to, maybe you do, have a financial literacy component. I think sometimes it's not simply just providing them with that resource to get out of the trench, but to also sort of help analyze where maybe they can make some adjustments that often they don't realize are things that are systemic to their challenges, that put them in sort of that position or can contribute. And I often run across this in my other side of my life, where you want to really provide people with that platform of, think about this. Have you tried this app? I know for myself, and I wouldn't say mine's complicated, but somewhat complicated, but I use an app, and people are always like, what do you do? What do you personally do for financial literacy? I said, well, I use the app that is an app that allows for all your things to come together, and you can look at a budget, and I can look at it, and I'm just one of those people that look at it every day and look and analyze, okay, so I ate out 5 times this week already, there's my budget, and it tells me and alerts me that you are at your capacity on dining out. And so it's the little things, and it even has a component where it shows you that when you go over it, what it did to your budget and how it threw off, things. And I'm very strict about my own budget and that kind of thing. So I just think that might be a helpful component to design a financial literacy element to it, so that, to Commissioner Crawley's point, they don't come back. The idea is to really help empower them and equip them with the resources to be okay and successful without county support or without other support.
Yeah,
So, thank you.
absolutely.
Absolutely. I know DCA Bivens.
Thank you, Commissioners. Joy Bivens, Deputy County Administrator of Health and Human Services. Thank you both so much. I just wanted to lift up the data. Commissioner Boyce talked about the data. $250,000 is not a lot of money, right? And we don't know how many people you're going to be able to assist. However, as the public is watching, we want you to understand there are a lot of single moms who are working every day just to make ends meet. And so as we collect the data, have this model, this will be a great opportunity for the business community, particularly those who are have single mothers, large portions of single mothers in their organizations, to set aside $250,000 or $300,000 to utilize this as a model so they can put this in their business organization, so working moms can get these resources where they work versus depending on, unfortunately, very restricted government resources and a very stringent government time. So I just wanted to lift that up because I know we're going to be having ongoing conversations. I know the commissioners would like to see, as this becomes a model, this being lifted up, having direct conversations with the business community, as this is something they can do to assist their employees as well.
DCA Bivens, I think that's a very powerful and important statement, because as I've also met with some recent business leaders, they're recognizing that the workforce is challenged with all types of things, and the more solutions that they can participate in delivering to their workforce is a way to reduce the cost of bringing on new people and keep the talent that they already have. So I think that's a great point for us to continue to elevate.
So we should explain that, DCA cha-ching down there at the end of the table to the public. $250,000 is a lot of money. It's just not a lot of programmatic money. When you make a statement that says $250,000 isn't a lot of money, the public hears that and thinks, well, what is she talking about? It is a lot of money. It's just not a lot of programmatic money.
Yeah.
It doesn't go far when you're trying to help a lot of people. So for the public, let's explain it that way, please. All right, if there aren't any other further comments or questions, I will move for approval of Resolution 14325.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 14325 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Next up, we have fleet management.
Resolution number 14425, resolution authorizing the third and final contract extension and modification with Byers Ford LLC for the supply and delivery of fleet automobiles for Franklin County Fleet Management in the amount of $3 million.
Good morning, Commissioners. Charlotte Ashcraft, Director of Fleet Management. My first resolution is requesting approval of a final contract extension for the purchase of new vehicles. The original contract with Byers Ford was awarded in March of 2021, and 2 other extensions have been approved. This final extension includes 1 contract modification amendment from a basic bid to an all-state and all-political subdivisions in the state of Ohio to make it cooperative. During briefing, the question of titles were raised. I have audited all the titles over the last 3 years from Byers Ford, and they are all in Franklin County. This requirement is part of our contract, and I will continue to monitor those to make sure that that is done. Fleet recommends this final contract extension, and pending any questions, I request your passage.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 14425.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 14425 has been adopted. Resolution number 14525, resolution authorizing a 5-year extension to the Master Equity Lease Agreement to allow Franklin County Fleet Management to continue to lease vehicles for Franklin County use.
My second resolution is requesting a 5-year extension of our vehicle leasing program. In 2020, the Commissioners approved a Master Equity Lease Agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management. This was our first step into leasing, so we took it slow. This option for obtaining vehicles has been very beneficial to our operation. We currently have 20 leased vehicles, and we're looking at expanding that. Those 20 cover 9 different divisions within the county. When preparing for vehicle replacements, we look at leasing as an option. Sometimes we have vehicles that get frequent use, but they don't go very far. So leasing is a good option for that, so we can replace them more often than having a 25-year-old vehicle. Enterprise Fleet Management continues to have a vehicle leasing program available through the national contract with Sourcewell. I have discussed the titling process with our representative from Enterprise, and they have agreed to title all vehicles in Franklin County. Pending any questions, I request your passage.
No, Commissioner Boyce.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, thank you for presentation of this resolution. We had talked in briefing about a regression analysis that would, for those who may not understand that, that would give us the ability to look at cost differential between owning vehicles and the maintenance over time, and then leasing vehicles and the cost up front. And so I think over time, a regression analysis will determine whether or not leasing is the better. So since we're just kind of getting it going, it's the perfect time to construct the data collection. And so I just wanted to remind you of that, because I think I know how it's going to play out, but it'd be interesting to see it in form of data and cost. So that'd be great.
Yep, I've already reached out to them, and they've begun that for the 20 that we have, just to start. So now that we have actual data to back that up, it's a good time to do it, yes.
Outstanding. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, Director, thank you for your work on the titling. One, the analysis, and looking into all the titles, but also two, the conversation you had with the leasing agency to make sure that they're going to do all the titling in Franklin County. For those in the room and for the public that doesn't understand, they're able to, dealers are able to title vehicles in any county across the state. And it's a sales tax issue, and we just want to make sure that our vehicles are being titled in Franklin County, so Franklin County gets the sales tax. So thank you for all that work. If there aren't any other comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 14525.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 14525 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Job and Family Services.
Resolution number 14625, resolution approving a subaward agreement with the Franklin County Office on Aging for Adult Protective Services in the amount of $2,114,500.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. Carmen Barnes, Assistant Director, Job and Family Services. The Ohio Revised Code designates county departments of Job and Family Services responsible for providing protective services for elderly adults 60 and older who have been abused, neglected, or exploited. The ORC permits us to designate another agency to administer these services, and we've contracted annually with the Office on Aging to do so since 1999. The Office on Aging provides advocacy for client rights, investigations, court intervention, and other assistance. And under this subaward, they plan to serve 1,800 senior adults. Through this award, the Office on Aging will also continue its partnership with the Franklin County Probate Court, which oversees the Guardianship Services Board in cases where the adult appears to be legally incompetent and has no family member or other individual available to provide guardianship. Aging refers to them as the Guardianship Services Board. This resolution supports goal number 9 of the Rise Together Blueprint, and the Office on Aging Director Shonda Wingo is here to make comments and answer any questions that you may have about this resolution. Pending those questions, I ask for your approval of this resolution.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration, Madam Prosecutor. Shonda Wingo, Director for the Franklin County Office on Aging. We are happy to have this partnership and to be trusted with this program because it perfectly aligns with our mission to ensure Franklin County seniors have the resources that they need to age in place. I want to take an opportunity, if I may, to just talk about the stigma attached to adult protective services and advocate that we utilize this as a service and not as a fear tactic. Our goal is not to come in and remove seniors from their home, but our goal is to come in with case management and connect our seniors to community resources, whether it be through the Office on Aging or through other community resources to ensure that the safety of that senior while they age in place. So that looks like financial exploitation, neglect or neglect and abuse at the hands of a caregiver or a family member or someone who has access. So if you know something, you see something, please give us a call. We would want to make sure that our seniors are connected at any turn and are able to age successfully in Franklin County because that should be a birthright. So thank you.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 14625.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 14625 has been adopted.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Next up, Justice Policy and Programs.
Resolution number 14725, resolution authorizing 7 subgrant awards for community-based services for individuals diverted from the prison system and/or at high risk for future criminal justice involvement under the FY 2025 Targeted Community Alternatives to Prison Grant Program in the amount of $235,000.
Good morning again, Commissioners, County Leadership. Rochelle Pride, Director for the Office of Justice Policy and Programs. The State of Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections created the Targeted Community Alternatives to Prison Program to provide funding to local communities as a result of changes in the Ohio Revised Code, which prohibits some fifth-degree felony offenders from serving a prison sentence in Ohio on or after July 1 of 2018. The resolution requests the approval of the following sub-grant awards under FY 2024 and 2025, TCAP program. City of Columbus Work Release Program, Unleashing Potential, which is a credible messengers program that provides wraparound services for our high-risk justice-involved emerging adults 18 to 25. TAP Workforce Training Advancement Placement Project, Center for Employment Opportunities, Lower Lights Ministries, Reentry and Recovery Housing, Shelter in Place Recovery Housing, and Our Brother's Keeper Transitional Housing for young people ages 18 to 25. Pending any questions, we would seek your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 14725.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 14725 has been adopted. Resolution number 14825, resolution authorizing the county administrator to accept receipt of an FY 2024 Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Use Program Grant Award from the Bureau of Justice Assistance to support a combination of harm reduction, recovery, and treatment approaches intended to reduce overdose deaths, promote public safety, and support equitable access to addiction services.
Thank you. This resolution is to accept our FY 2024 Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Use Program Award in the amount of $1.6 million from the Bureau of Justice Assistance for a project period of commencing October 1st of 2024 through September 30th of 2027. Franklin County will integrate efforts of the Franklin County Office of Justice Policy and Programs, our Sheriff's Office, Southeastern Corporation, and Supportive Housing, and Towers House to implement a continuum of care that targets our most at-risk residents, including the homeless population, frequent utilizers of our jail system, and communities marginalized through historic policies and practices that have resulted in over-incarceration of individuals for drug usage. Throughout the three-year program, it is anticipated that approximately 7,200 individuals will be reached during outreach engagement events, as well as an additional 850 directly served through increased access to pre-release medicated-assisted treatment, peer services, and harm reduction. Pending any questions, we would seek your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 14825.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 14825 has been adopted. Resolution number 14925, resolution authorizing a subgrant award agreement with Franklin County Community-Based Correctional Facility for the enhancement of their radio communication system under the FY 2022 Justice Assistance Grant in the amount of $13,830.
Our Franklin County Community-Based Correctional Facility intends to utilize JAG funding to address the critical issue of insufficient radio coverage for staff within the secure perimeter by providing an upgraded communication system to our Franklin County CBCF. This upgrade will ensure that the facility maintains the essential one-on-one radio-to-staff ratio, thereby enhancing the safety and security of both residents and staff. The improved communication capabilities will also enable staff to communicate during emergency situations promptly and efficiently, improving the overall operational efficiency and safety of the facility. Pending any questions, we would seek your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of 14925.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 14925 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have sanitary engineers.
Resolution number 15025, resolution authorizing a first contract modification to the construction agreement with JLD Construction Services LLC for the Gladys Road, Ina Avenue Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project for an increase in the amount not to exceed $85,000 for a revised total of $1,740,170. One second, Assistant Director, we can't hear you. It's definitely my fault, Commissioners. Okay.
Can you hear me? We working now?
Yep. Please go ahead.
Okay, I'll start again. Good morning, Commissioners, County Administration. I'm Ryan Stowe, the Assistant Director for Sanitary Engineering. Resolution 651-24 approved a construction agreement with JLD Construction Services, the Gladys Road, Ina Avenue Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project in an amount not to exceed $1,655,170. Due to unknown existing subsurface conditions, an existing nearby county-owned water main experienced failure during the installation of the sanitary sewer and had to be replaced. The existing project contingency of $80,000 is insufficient to cover the cost of the work, which is estimated at $85,000, and leave additional contingency for future unknowns. This project is jointly funded by the Water Pollution Control Loan Fund and the Ohio Water Development Authority As part of the loan agreement with the Water Pollution Control Loan Fund, there's an additional project contingency of $85,517 that can be utilized. Sanitary Engineering is requesting the approval of a modification to the contract with JLD Construction Services in the amount of $85,000 for a total contract value not to exceed $1,740,170. Pending any questions or comments, I request the passage of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 15025.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 15025 has been adopted. Resolution number 15125, resolution authorizing a private water and sewer agreement with East Galloway Development LLC for the construction of a private water main and sanitary sewer collection system in the amount of $150,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Stephen Renner, the Director of the Department of Sanitary Engineering. Via Resolutions 500-21 and Resolution 666-23, the developer, Braun Miller Development, built the water and sewer infrastructure to support single and multi-family homes on the west side of Galloway Road in the development now known as Chase Landings. The same developer, now via East Galloway Development, desires to construct a mixed-use development consisted of single-family homes, patio homes, multifamily structures, retail offices, and commercial improvements within the same unincorporated area of Prairie Township. The proposed water and sewer systems needed to support the development, as stated, will connect to the previous system accepted by Franklin County Board of Commissioners in Resolution 650-24. The developer will pay for all the design and construction of the necessary water and sewer systems after approval of the Department of Sanitary Engineering. It will recommend acceptance to the Board of Commissioners. Furthermore, the current water meter building as built by the developer previously was determined not to meet the needs of our department and thus requires improvement. Therefore, via this private water and sewer agreement provides the terms and conditions applicable to the design and construction of the water systems needed, as well as the design and construction of the improved water meter building. Via this agreement, our department has agreed to share the cost of these improvements to the building to an estimated not to exceed $150,000 from the county. Barring any questions, I respectfully request passage of this resolution. And Commissioners, my heartfelt gratitude and thanks to Jesse Armstrong of the Prosecutor's Office in helping us get to this agreement.
Heartfelt, Jesse, heartfelt.
We like Jesse too.
If there are no further comments or questions, I will move approval of Resolution 15125.
Aren't you just the popular guy, Jesse? Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 15125 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Next up, we have purchasing.
Resolution number 15225, resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $7,246,475.90.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tracy
morning.
Matthew, Assistant Director of Purchasing. And with me today is D'Amica Withers, Chief Economic Equity and Inclusion Officer for the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. This resolution, Commissioners, requests your approval of 139 purchase orders for which the county auditor has pre-certified available funding. I'll turn it over to D'Amica for the SCBE data.
Thanks, Tracy. Commissioners and County Administration, 9 of the purchase orders being presented are being awarded to small and emerging businesses totaling $283,364.57. These awards are distributed as follows: 6% to women-owned businesses and 1% to minority-owned businesses. 5 agencies will provide equitable and inclusive opportunities to small businesses this week, which includes the Clerk of Courts, the Data Center, Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court, Engineer, and the Sheriff's Department. Year-to-date, Franklin County Board of Commissioners agencies have awarded 92 purchase orders to small and emerging businesses, totaling $3,515,358.84. We respectfully request your approval on this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 15225.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 15225 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Board of Commissioners.
Resolution number 15325, resolution authorizing a transfer of funds from the general fund to the wireless 911 fund for the payment of interest earnings.
Good morning, Commissioners. Zach Tlarik with the Office of Management and Budget. This resolution would transfer $36,620.55, which is the equivalent net interest earnings on the reserve balance in the Wireless 911 Fund for distribution to the municipalities operating the primary public service answering points. Pending any questions, would ask for your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 15325.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 15325 has been adopted. Resolution number 15525, resolution authorizing a funding agreement with the Community Shelter Board to develop and implement strategies that decrease homelessness in Franklin County in the amount of $6,079,390.
Commissioners, this agreement with the Community Shelter Board is funded from our permissive conveyance fee dollars as well as supplemental monies from the general fund. With us today is President and CEO Shannon Isom. If you have any questions on this resolution, or if you'd like to ask her for any comments.
Do you have any comment? Do you have any? Did you? Okay.
You don't have to.
Okay, you don't have to.
You don't have to, yeah.
No.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 15525.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution 15525 has been adopted. Resolution number 15625, resolution approving a contribution in aid of construction agreement with AEP Ohio for the construction and installation of electric distribution facilities to 900 Hague Avenue, and authorizing the county administrator to execute future contribution in aid of construction agreements with AEP Ohio in the amount of $15,090.73.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jesse Armstrong, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney, on behalf of Franklin County Prosecutor Shayla Faber. This agreement with AEP Ohio is for the installation of a primary electrical distribution line to the county's property at 900 Hague Avenue. This resolution would also authorize the county administrator to execute a second contribution aid construction agreement for the backup line, which will be necessary to service this property. Total amount for this initial primary line would be $15,090.73. Pending any questions, we request your approval.
Madam President?
Yes.
May I? Thank you. Thank you, Jesse. To make sure that the last part says that in authorizing the county administrator to execute future contributions in aid of construction agreements, is that for this site or just blanket generally speaking?
That's a good question, Commissioner. That is just for this site because it is anticipated that we'll need a backup line. AEP is still working on the construction plans and cost estimate for that, so it's not ready at this time. So in order just to move that through more quickly, we're authorizing him to sign just one more agreement, which is substantially similar to the one before you now. It will also be conditioned on the approval of a PO to cover the cost and approval to form by our office. So it's just one more agreement for this property only.
Thank you, Madam President. Want to just follow up?
Sure.
So so it's going to be roughly in the same price range, roughly?
Actually, it will not. The backup line needs to be run from a different point, which is farther away. In addition, for security purposes, it needs to be buried. And so we do anticipate the cost will be significantly higher, frankly, for this. I think the estimates we received for the backup line are in the $250,000 to $300,000 range. But again, AEP Ohio is still working on the exact cost of that construction.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. Yeah, it's not abnormal that the distance to those, the connectors is determined in all development, so that makes a lot of sense. Even though we're authorizing that to speed up the process, I just want to say to the administrator, we'd like to know what that, I don't want to speak for my colleagues, but I think so. We'd like to know what that final number is, just so that we're aware of it as it comes through, and that can be in your generally monthly report when you do those things that you have, or however. I don't think it's crucial, but if it turns out to be $500,000 or whatever, then we want to know, you know. Even if it's $250,000, we want to know.
President Crawley, Commissioner O'Grady, Commissioner Boyce, yes, I will report that to the board, the exact amount when that line is authorized.
Great,
It's not in this resolution, but Madam Clerk, can we make a clerk's note for the record that we would include this in my reporting of no-cost contract amendments, and just include this even though it does have a cost?
Thank you, that's great. I think that's perfect.
And Commissioners, if I could,
Yes.
President Crawley, Commissioner O'Grady, Commissioner Boyce, Chris Long, Deputy County Administrator. In addition to what Ken just indicated, and as Jesse Armstrong indicated, this is the site where the 911 call center will be. And so the purpose of 2 feeds from AEP plus a backup generator is why we have this duplicative of electricity sources for that space.
Totally makes sense.
Thank you.
We take 911 seriously. I know there's been songs written around 911, but the backup though is needed, and, so that we have redundancy to serve that facility.
If there are no further comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 15625.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes,
Resolution number 15625 has been adopted.
absolutely.
Thank you. Just to ask Madam President for a personal point of privilege, because I think that was the last one, right? Okay. I just want to take a minute to introduce to folks a new staffer who's joined my office, Adriana Gordon. If you could stand up, and if you get a chance, certainly welcome her to Franklin County. She comes to us from the Ohio General Assembly, where she served as legislative aide under State Representative Latina Humphrey, and did a fabulous job, and has been so kind enough to come and join my team. And so if you get a chance, please welcome her to the Franklin County family. Thank you, Madam President.
Absolutely. Welcome.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
yes. So just a reminder, thank you, DCA Bivens, that we have conversations with Crawley on tomorrow from 5 to 7:30. Blanking on the name of the church, but we will have it posted again today. Resurrection Church in Gahanna. Thank you. That teamwork makes the dream work. So conversations with Crawley tomorrow, 5 to 7:30, Resurrection Church.
I got one too, Madam President.
Absolutely.
On Thursday, we'll be hosting our Youth Soul Talk, talking about mental health in our young people. And we're going to be at 6 o'clock at New Covenant Church. I don't know the address. I'm trying to find it, so I don't have the address. Oh, wait a minute. Nope, that's not it. Anyways, New Covenant Church, Refugee Road?
No, it's on
Core Road.
It's
3400 Core
Road, K-O-H-R.
All right, 3400, New Covenant Believers Church, 3400 Core Boulevard, at 6 o'clock on Thursday. Come out and join us to talk with our young people about mental health. It's really been an engaging conversation, learning and hearing from them, and we're going to have some clinicians and providers that work with youth directly. I think it's going to be a very good soul talk.
All right. If we don't have any generalizations and no members from the media with any comments or questions, that concludes our business for today. Thank you. Happy Tuesday.